Geometric Transformations. This is a digital lesson, and this one is New Year's themed. So it starts with giving a definition of transformation and then what it means in mathematics. Slide 3 has the definition of the 4 transformations we're going to see in this lesson, so students can refer back to slide 3 as they need to. Slide 4 starts with reflection. So students are going to be using the fill color feature of Google Slides to show their reflections. Now here we have a shape here, and in order to show the reflection it needs to be an equal distance from the y-axis, so we're reflecting across the y-axis. So an equal distance from the y-axis and a mirror image. So to do that, they just click and hold in one of the squares that they want to color in, and then just slide across until they've highlighted a rectangle shape. And they come up here to the fill color feature and they can choose any color they like. Do the same thing until they have the mirror image. Now the next one they're going to be reflecting again across the y-axis, but a different shape. So it has to be equal distance from the y-axis and a mirror image. And again, you just highlight what they want to fill in. Choose a color, any color they like. And they show their mirror image. The next slide has the same shape, but this time they're going to be reflecting across the x-axis. So it's going to be above, and again a mirror image. The next one has the students reflecting across a line. So it's the line x equals 1, and it's highlighted in a color. So it's going to be equal distance from the line, but on the opposite side of that line. They're going to do the same thing with the line y equals -1. So it's going to be down at the bottom. And then they're shown what to do if they're reflecting across a line and the figure is already partway across that line. So I've shown some points here. This is going to act as a hinge. So if we took this figure and we just flipped it up on this hinge, this is what it would look like. And the next slide, students are going to be doing that with a different shape. Then we move on to translation. Translation is just moving up, down, left, or right without changing the orientation of the figure. So the first one's pretty easy. They're going to show moving 6 units to the right. So again, click in one of the squares that they want to highlight and choose a color. The next one, they have 2 movements. This one they're going to be moving 4 units to the left and then 2 units down. 2 movements on the next slide, and then 2 more on slide 14. Then we move on to rotation. Now with rotation, we're going to be moving around the origin. So if we move this shape, this triangle shape, counterclockwise 90 degrees, that puts it in quadrant 3. So we're going to take the coordinates of each of the points, using this formula, -yx, and that will show us where the new points are going to be. So here we have the point -1, 2. If we use this formula, it's going to be -2, -1. So we just click and hold on these points and then we can move them where we like. -1, 4 is now going to be -4, -1. And -3, 2 using this formula will be -2, -3. Now they have the shape. They're going to use these lines just to fill in their triangle. Again, just click and hold. So that is a movement, a rotation around the origin, counterclockwise 90 degrees. The next is a different triangle, a little bit different shape. And this one we're going to be moving clockwise 90 degrees. So that would put that also in quadrant 3. And again, take each one of the points, the coordinates, and then change the coordinates using this formula. And then the final rotation, we're going to be showing 3 different rotations of this shape. All 3, one in each of the quadrants around the origin. Then we move on to dilation. Dilation means we're going to change the size of a shape by a scale factor. So on this one, we want to increase the size of this square by a scale factor of 2. That means we're going to take the coordinates of each of these points and multiply by 2. So instead of 1, 1, we now have 2, 2. Negative 1, 1 is now going to be negative 2, 2. This one will be negative 2, negative 2, and 2, negative 2. And then again, we're just going to click and hold on these lines to fill in the shape. So the shape stays the same, the size changes. Now they're going to do the same thing on the next slide with a triangle shape. So we want to take each of the coordinates of each of these points, multiply this time by 3. And then we have a scale factor of 1/2. So if your scale factor is a fraction less than 1, that means your shape is going to be smaller. So we're going to take the coordinates of each of the corners, we're going to multiply by 1/2 or divide by 2. And then this final transformation, students are going to be doing 2 different transformations of the same figure. So they're going to move this, they're going to translate this figure 5 units to the left and then reflect it over the x-axis. The final slide is drag and drop vocabulary, so it's a review of each one of these transformations. All they need to do is click and hold on the edge and move the term into the correct place in the sentence frames. So that is a digital lesson, geometric transformations, and this one is New Year's themed.